Good morning and welcome to the July 27th, 2017 Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting. If any member of the audience wishes to speak to an item on the agenda, there are speaker request forms to the left of the dais. Please fill out the request with the agenda number of the item you wish to speak to and hand it to the secretary. At this time, we would also like to ask that if any member of the audience has a cell phone or other electronic device, that you either turn it off or turn the ringer to silent. If you need to take a call, please step out to the hallway so the meeting is not disrupted. The public hearing on item number 1 is now opened. The approval of July 6th Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting minutes. Karen made the motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second? Steve seconded that motion. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2.
Mr. Chair, the applicant has requested that item number 2 be continued to your August 10th Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting, and that would be our recommendation.
Steve made the motion to continue to item number 2 to August 10th. Galen seconded that motion. All those in favor, please say aye. 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 Opposed? Motion carries. I'd look for a motion to adjourn the Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting. Steve made the motion to adjourn. Karen seconded that motion. All those in favor, please say aye. 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 Opposed? Motion carries. We'll move to the second agenda. We will now commence the City of Rapid City Planning Commission meeting for July 27, 2017. Same requests. If you have an item on the Planning Commission agenda you wish to speak to, please turn in the speaker request form to the staff along the left wall. Consent calendar. Items 1 through 3 have been placed on the consent calendar and may be approved as a group. Action will be taken on all consent items in accordance with staff's recommendation by a single vote. Any item may be removed from the consent calendar by any planning commissioner, staff member, or audience member for separate consideration at this time. The findings of this planning commission are recommendations to the City Council. The City Council will make the final decision with the exception of the following items. Item 2, 17 PD 034. Item 3, 17 PD 037. The Rapid City Planning Commission's actions on these items are final unless any party appeals that decision to the Rapid City Council. All appeals must be submitted in writing to the Community Planning and Development Services Department by close of business on the 7th full calendar day following action by the Planning Commission. Are there any items 1 through 3 staff would like removed?
Item number 2, please.
Okay. Any items or 1 and 3 if the Planning Commission would like removed? And would any of the audience members like to remove items 1 or 3? Steve made the motion to approve the consent calendar with the exception of item number 2, and Galen seconded that motion. Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. 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 Opposed? The motion carries. Item number 2.
Item number 2 is 17 PD 034, a major amendment to a plan development to allow an oversized garage. The reason we pulled this from consent is that before you on the dais are 2 emails. One of them, the first one, is a letter of opposition, and the second email is a withdrawal of that opposition. But we decided we'd take it off the consent calendar and give you a short presentation. Property zone low density residential district 2 in a planned development. Currently the property is void of any structural development. We've got single family homes to the north and to the south and west, and vacant lot to the east. Future land use, urban neighborhood, and give you an idea where in the city Jolly Lane is identified as a collector street. Here we have proposed site plan showing a single family dwelling proposed an attached 3-stall garage, and then a detached 2-stall garage. The reason this is a major amendment to the plan development is that you're allowed 1,500 square feet of garage space on a property, and this is total of 1,596. So it's 96 square feet over what is allowed. You'll also notice on this shows a horseshoe driveway. One of the stipulations is that the site plan be revised. There's a non-access easement along this property line, and only the south approach is going to be permitted. Here we have some elevations showing siding and stone accents, and an elevation of the proposed detached garage. It's not overtly large, not designed for an RV or anything. Here we have a picture looking into the site, sign posted on the property, a lot of tree cover towards the west. Looking to the north along Jolly Lane and the house in the distance. Again along Jolly Lane to the north, and properties to the south, along Jolly Lane to the south, and directly to the east of the property. Staff has received a lot of calls and walk-ins regarding this proposed project, but the applicant has indicated it's not for commercial purposes, the oversized garage, not for second residence, and that's being stipulated and is enforced by our current zoning code. And staff's recommendation is that the major amendment be approved with stipulations noted in the staff report. There is one speaker request form, and the applicants are here to answer any questions you may have. Are there any questions for staff at this time?
John?
Are there any covenants against this in that subdivision?
This property is one of very few properties that is not within the covenant, and the city doesn't enforce private covenants, but through talking with people, we've discovered that this is one of the few properties that is not within the covenant area.
Okay. Thanks.
However, the applicant in their letter of intent did state that they will do everything possible to maintain those covenants, even though they're not a part of them.
I do have a speaker request form from Gary Stewart. Mr. Stewart, would you like to speak on this item?
My name's Gary Stewart. I live
Oh, right up here.
I'm sorry, can you go to the microphone?
This is easier anyway. My name is Gary Stewart. I live at 3754 Daly Court. This property that I live at is right around the corner from about 300 yards from, as the crow flies, to this property of the Mr. and Mr. Stottle. And number one, I want to welcome you to the Elks Country Estates. And just the question that John just asked was covenants. There's phase one to the east and the north of this property. There's 75 homes that we have a very strict covenants. To the south and to the west, a little bit of east, there's about 150 homes, phase two, that have pretty much the same strict covenants as us. These folks in that property, there is no covenants as far as I know. The original owner, Mr. Zangstra, owned the top $1 million home, and this property below, he kept himself so that nothing could be built for, for future use to undo the neighborhood, and which was fine. Then he sold it, and those folks decided they wanted to sell the property, which was fine. But there's only 3 homes there off of Jolly, where we're talking, that are under a grandfather, do not have to follow the covenants. The homes were built to fit in, and they can have mobile homes and boats and stuff setting out. So that's kind of what's going on out there. The reason that I'm here, you guys, is these folks that are talking out to the Elks, the questions they have are genuine, because we have, honestly, one of the nicest communities, the quietest community. It's kind of a retirement community, although it can't be classified that way, but most of the people are older. But they just are trying to protect things. The question, I think, that most of the talk that I've had, that people have come to me and asked, is, I know you folks were into race cars years ago, and I think the concern probably is, Are we going to have that type of business going, or that type of thing going on? Are we going to have cars starting up? We're going to have a lot of things sitting around? Or are you just building an extra garage to make sure that we comply with you guys and put our mobile homes inside, which we would love that to happen, because that's what we do, although you don't have to. So I guess that's the question, and I'm not speaking for the Elks community totally, you guys, but I do believe what I'm saying is kind of where they're going. They're just trying to protect and not have something like that happen. So that's my question for you guys.
Well,
In the building itself,
Mr. Stewart, we probably have to have the commission ask the question.
oh, I'm sorry. No, that's fine. That's fine. That's a question I have.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Any commissioners? Karen?
Good morning. Hi, Les. I guess when I read this, that was not my question, because I don't think you're necessarily racing cars anymore. But the reason for the extra garage is that because you have extra vehicles, and that's why you're trying to put that in there. And so I just wanted that question to be asked, too. If you don't mind coming up to the podium and just saying yes, no, whatever.
I'm kind of confused here a little bit. Basically, what we're going to do is work on a vehicle, right, to restore. And at any one time, I could have, stuff scattered around in my garage inside. We don't we don't want anything outside. These type of cars and all that I'm working with, you want to protect them as good as we can, and basically it will be used for a hobby with no more racing involved. And we don't bring cars out. Don't want to disrupt anything like it is now. That's part of why we bought this, is because it's so rare. Number one, it's a half acre, which there's hardly any half acres left in the city. And the place is quiet. Everything that Mr. said is we want to maintain that. So not sure I answered the question. If anybody would want to repeat on that, I'll gladly address it some more.
If I could just ask you, I think we know who you are, but just for the record on our meeting, could you identify yourself?
I'm Les Stottle, and this is my wife, Mary.
Thank you very much. Karen?
I think, Les, you answered my question. That's kind of what I, thought that's what you were going to use it for. And it's a nice piece of property, kind of tucked in right there, and you have a lot of traffic going by to other homes. So I, in knowing your reputation in the past, I think you'll do a good job of keeping that up. So I think this is a good thing for you to do. So you've answered my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Any other questions or concerns from the commission? Kurt?
I couldn't read on the site plan, how big is that detached garage? What were the dimensions?
It's 28 by 32 with a little kick out. 26 by 32.
Okay. Could you, you only need to lose less than 100 square feet. Can you revise the dimensions so you meet the requirements?
I guess we'd have to sit down and figure how that's going to affect us. It's not a cut and dried thing. I'm sure we can talk about it first and then address it.
Okay, and it looks like you're meeting all the setbacks. It kind of crunches you up in there, with the meeting the setbacks. It looks like you're trying to do a lot of stuff on a small piece of property. I don't have any further comments.
Other commissioners? Galen made the motion to approve per the staff recommendations. Steve seconded that motion. Any discussion on the motion? Mike? Vicky?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For some reason, it wouldn't let me hit my speaker request button here. I just wanted to point out that there is a stipulation within the project report that does clarify that this cannot be used for commercial purposes or as a second residence or as a rental unit. And I think for the neighborhood, their concern relates more to the type of activity within the garage than the actual size of the garage. I think the answer by the applicant today is good that we did get that on record. And if there is cars that are being worked on, they're for private purposes and not for commercial gain. So I believe that's going to address a lot of the inquiries we had from the neighborhood.
Thanks, Vicky. That's for anything more from the commission? Seeing no other lights up, we'll take a vote. All those in favor, excuse me, of the motion to approve per staff recommendations, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? I believe it was just Kurt that was the no. Okay. The motion carries. Item number 4.
Item number 4 is 17 PD 026, a final plan development overlay to construct a Sonic restaurant. Start you through some slides. Property is located at the southeast corner of the intersection of East North Street and Century Road, Zone General Commercial District. Currently, the property is void of any structural development. However, there has been a footings and foundation permit issued for the proposed fast food restaurant. You can see there's another restaurant to the southwest, and then you can see the right-of-way width for East North Street. Future land use is mixed-use commercial, and showing you where it's located in the city. East North Street is identified as a principal arterial street. Site plan identifies a 1,608 square foot building with a covered seating area and an outdoor seating area. Over on this north side of the property is where the proposed canopy is to be located, and the applicant is requesting 2 exceptions. One, to reduce the setback from East North Street from 25 feet to 6 feet, and from Century Road from 25 feet to 19 feet. Since the canopies doesn't have walls, maintains open area, visual and sight, and then also the distance from the intersection at East North Street, as well as maintaining the visibility for this approach here. Staff is recommending that the exceptions be granted for the setback reductions, specifically for the canopy. And here's showing pictures of the existing Sonic restaurants that are in Rapid City and how that canopy works. Here we have a photo looking north into the site. Sign is posted on the property, and you can see some of the other new development in the area. This is looking at the development to the south, Popeye's restaurant, and then the other businesses that are also located off Century Road. Looking to the south or along Century Road away from East North Street, and then looking along the service road to the south of the property and East North Street. And again at the intersection, take you all the way around, and looking back towards where the Menards is located. Did receive an email from Karen Bowman identifying that we should probably amend the stipulations, the exceptions, number 1 and 2, to state that the reduction in setback is specifically for the canopy. In that case, should the property ever be redeveloped, they wouldn't get those grandfathered in setbacks through the plan development. It would specifically be for a canopy which has open sides. So with that, staff is recommending approval of the final plan development with stipulations as amended, if that's okay with the planning commission.
Does the motion maker include that amendment to the first two stipulations?
Yes.
So the first two stipulations, the exception is granted specifically for the canopy feature. Steve made the motion. Karen seconded the motion. We do have a speaker request form from Stephen Smith. Would you like to speak on this item?
I think you clarified everything, and
Okay.
pass it, I'm good.
All right. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5.
Item number 5 is 17 UR 013, a conditional use permit to expand an on-sale liquor establishment in conjunction with a casino. Property is located at 720 East North Street. Property is zoned general commercial district and is located within a established commercial corridor along East North Street. It's currently developed with a 2-suite building. There's an existing casino located in this suite, and then a smoke shop located on the north side suite. The applicant is proposing to take a license from another casino and put it into this casino to expand, and the total expansion is 1,156 square feet. No structural changes are proposed for the property. And here we have looking at future land use is mixed use commercial, and East North Street is identified as a revitalization corridor, as well as being a principal arterial street. So here we see a floor plan showing the proposed expansion into the north suite. There are only 2 suites, so it'll just be a casino on the property rather than a casino and a secondary use. Some photos of the property as it exists today provided by the applicant. The existing casino is Toby's Casino, and some of the signage and lighting which is currently on the property, which the applicant is not proposing to change. Staff went out and took these photos showing probably the Thrifty Smoke Shop sign will go away. Looking at the other development within the area, directly to the east is McDonald's. To the north, some commercial buildings, offices. This is looking directly to the south, bank in the area. And then looking along East North Street, so you can see the established commercial corridor that this is located in. Staff has received 1 phone call in opposition. However, they stated they would send in an email, but it was never received by staff. Based on the fact that it's an existing use on the property, it's located within an established commercial corridor, and it's taking one casino from license from one area and consolidating it into this one building. Staff is recommending that the the conditional use permit be approved. However, again, got an email from Karen identifying that we need to amend the stipulation to read to allow an on-sale liquor establishment. We forgot the liquor in that, so if we could get that stipulation amended, staff recommends it be approved.
Steve made the motion to approve as amended, adding liquor to the on sale phrase. Is there a second? Second. Galen seconded that. Any further discussion on this motion? John?
The current sign, does that comply with our current sign code right now?
It does appear that it is located on the property line. As long as it doesn't encroach into the right-of-way, it is allowed.
Okay, thanks.
Other questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion items, staff items? Welcome, Councilman Roberts. Look for a motion to adjourn. Kim made the motion. Steve second. Oh, Galen seconded the motion. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion still carries.